Acts 1:6. Then they gathered around him and asked him, Lord, are you at this time going to restore the kingdom to Israel? It's that question that the disciples are asking Jesus,
That's right.
Yeah.
Comes kind of, for us, it feels like it comes out of nowhere. But if you understand the backstory, you know, like in the first century, Jews saw themselves as oppressed by the Romans, heavy taxation, choosing some of their high priests for them, kind of ruled. It's almost like they were not at home in their own homeland. So the Roman Empire is kind of impressing them. So they were longing for a return to the big days, you know, like when David was king and like people would come from other countries and see their wisdom. There's like, come on, put us back in charge again. So it's like they wanted to be put in power again. And I guess this passage, their question reminds me of a mindset that we can sometimes have as Christians. It's like as our influence has kind of faded from society, as people kind of turn on the Christian faith a little bit, or it's not as cool to be Christian. Maybe churches aren't consulted about how the society should be run. You know, we're like, man, when is the church going to be influential again? You know, make the church powerful again.
Mappa. Macpa.
McPa. Yeah.
Macpa doesn't fit on a hat as well. But yeah,
That's right.
I totally see what you're saying. With the so the disciples, right, they're following Jesus. They believe he's the Messiah, which all the Jews would have been waiting for at some point, right? This person from God that's going to turn up, this Messiah they're waiting for. And were they all expecting that he was going to do that, basically, like reinstall basically Israel as the top dog, and they would, you know, back like the old days kind of thing?
I mean, at the very least, independence in Jerusalem. If not, I mean, maybe not riding a stallion to Rome and taking over the whole world, but at least establishing their own freedom in their own homeland.
Yeah,
you know, absolutely. And militarily, like some Jews would like keep a dagger in their cloak. You know, we're prepared to get violent about it,
to take it back.
Yeah, exactly.
And thinking that Jesus would be the
Israel for God.
Like, but this is right. Like, I'm thinking that Jesus is going to basically start a revolution.
That's right.
And kick out these oppressors around them, and they would install this new power, Jewish power, and all of this kind of stuff. And then he really just didn't do that.
Well, yeah, I like to say, you know, we just don't need. I don't think we need political power. We don't need that kind of power. God doesn't wield primarily. Like, it's fine for Christians to enter into all of life, including politics. Absolutely, be an influence wherever you can. But we don't need political power. We don't need to be at the top position. We don't need to wield that with leverage to try to control people or make people Christian through political force. We've got the power of love, the power of service, the power of the gospel. And that's the power that Jesus is talking about, because he has told them just a few verses earlier. He said, wait in Jerusalem. You're going to get the gift that was promised, the Spirit baptism. And they're like, oh, you're going to restore power to Israel. And he's like, well, actually, no. You're going to be my witnesses. I will give you power, but it'll be a different kind of power. Power to be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the ends of the earth. And
it all
so
sounds
missional.
It all sounds very woke to me, Dale.
Woke.
I mean, wouldn't it just be easier to legislate salvation?
Yeah, that'd be great. Or just kill people. Like, I mean, if they don't
Get
become
rid of the
Christians,
ones that are not following the rules. By force, make everybody else righteous.
That's
and
yeah,
bada bing, bada boom.
easy.
For what gets me about this is, here's Jesus' disciples questioning him and asking him about, we were talking about this earlier about God's timing. It's not in our time, but they wanted things to be done. Like, isn't it time now? Isn't it? So if we make it relevant to us, Dale, and a takeaway, trusting in God's timing, and sometimes we want the quick fixes and the immediate answers.
That's right.
But God's plan is bigger, obviously.
I guess one thought that occurs quite personally to a lot of us. I think young people nowadays, they want, one of the top careers they want to be is like an influencer, like a celebrity or something. And I think in some ways, there's a gentle caution against any of those kinds of aspirations that any of us might have, to try to be influential, try to have a public platform, try to get that power. We might even just want genuine good influence to make the world a better place. But that power, if we try to do it by force, it ends up often just contributing to all the chaos in the world as we fight against one another.
It isn't like intoxicating, right? And like right throughout the Bible, there'd definitely be a large theme of people taking power for themselves.
Yeah.
Right. And even like you said, maybe even motivated by a good end goal or intention that they're like, I just want good things for these people, and they're not accepting it. So maybe I can just force it to happen, and then they'll understand that it was better my way, or God's way, but my way. And we're always susceptible to that, right? Trying to claim power for ourselves in society as Christians, but then also just in our own lives. Like people do it in relationships. Domineering, through oppressing, but because they're like, no, I love you. That's why I have to control you.
Yeah, when the framework's power, it's just not great for anyone. But when the framework's love, like when I walked in the room, you guys didn't force me to take off my clothes and look good. The framework was
invited
love.
you in.
You're like, we love you, Dale. We want you to look awesome tonight. So
that's exactly
let's
it.
make those adjustments.
Shift your focus.
And I was like, yeah, this is good. Please help me.
I can't help but think that it's about getting that balance right, because obviously, to Bjorn's point, there are people who want to do good, but you need to be an influence to be able to hear, right? But it's getting that balance right. I don't think we're close to that.
Yeah.
I don't even think we're even close to that.
One thing I think that I'd love to see myself do a lot more and everyone do a lot more is just be open to feedback. If somebody has feedback for them, just to ask for it and be teachable.
Yeah.
Be open to criticism.
And receiving it.
Yeah. Asking for it even. Instead of trying to have the power, let me have the influence. Let's share it around a bit.
If you want to criticize Dale, 8168 with the keyword life, you can text in. It'll be good.
Free fashion advice.
I think it's good, man. And because politics these days and that kind of stuff is so in the news and constantly in our lives.
Yep.
And, there's a lot of this temptation, right, to always go back to that thing of trying to grasp power, especially as individuals, but also collectively as Christians.
Yeah.
Right. But then when you look at Jesus, that's not what he did. He didn't come to overthrow.
Yeah. The instrument that the Roman Empire used to wield its power in the world was the thing that he died on to show the power of love.
Oh, stop. Come on, keep going.
Amen. That's all I got.
Amen, Dave.
He's saying that was the finishing line. That was it.